Hello everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84, and I just thought I'd do a quick video showing three recent acquisitions that I made of very young grafted plants. These actually came from Thomas. Not really an awful lot to say about them. It's going to be very tricky to keep them alive. The problem with these very immature grafts on very young seedlings is there's not much root development normally to support them, and they're extremely sensitive to too much water, too little water, too much sunshine, cold. It's likely to cause all sorts of problems. These were propagated, I think in Cyprus, or was it Greece? I think it was Cyprus. He will no doubt let me know, because I can't remember what he told me. Don't know too much about what they're going to turn out to be, but I'll try and show you. The first one is a purple fruited custard apple, or a nona, cherimoya, whichever one. I'm not exactly sure which. The leaves are a little bit narrower than on my seed grown cherimoya. In actual fact, you can see a very small flower bud on there, which I should probably remove, because the plant, as you can see, is very young. Cleft graft has been used on it. Looks like it's taken okay, but I've got to be extremely careful to protect the plant and that graft. I'm toying with the idea whether I should put it in my summer house, because it's more shaded in there, but my only concern is it can get a bit hot in the summer house, a bit too hot, and that could dehydrate the plant, because obviously the leaves will not be the roots will not be well established. But we'll see what happens. I haven't decided what to do yet, but I've got to be careful because it's going to be very delicate at this age. The next two are grafted white sapotes. Now, the variety names, well, they're claimed to be Vernon and a Subell. That's what the owner is convinced they are, who originally propagated the plants. But of course, as is usual with these things, he may not have bought the variety that he thinks he bought originally. He's obviously got mature trees now, and these scions were meant to have come from them, and the red ribbon signifies that's a different variety, the one without. Now, I noticed that he's used black electrical tape for his grafting. One thing about white sapotes, they're a little bit easier to graft than some other types of tree. That doesn't mean that they'll succeed, but I've managed to obviously graft my McDill, but albeit onto a much larger seedling, and that's done okay. As you can see, these grafts, the plants, they were grafted onto a very young seedlings, probably less than 12 months old. They've been grown in an extremely, well, I'd describe it as a heavy mud, a mud soil, so it's going to have a lot of sand and clay in it. It looks pretty healthy, but it doesn't mean that it's the best material. You can see the scions have put out 2 small shoots, and it looks to me as if it's trying to bud out elsewhere, but again, it's going to be very challenging to keep these alive. The first winter will be particularly difficult. I've got them in my kitchen at the moment just to keep them out of the extreme sun and heat, but again, I might be better off to put them in my summer house. Now, this one here, this is the second variety. I think this one is claimed to be a Subell, but of course, although Thomas is convinced it's Subell, because obviously his grower's convinced it's Subell, it's extremely hard to know. And it may well be that these will never, even if I keep them alive, they may never produce fruit here. But even then, identifying a white sapote just by its fruit is very difficult, because the plants themselves look near identical, and as far as I can see, the fruits look nearly identical. So I wouldn't be too sure, but at the end of the day, I can hope it's a Subell. Again, the graft is obviously here. I'm filming this and it's very, very warm, so I'm actually going to put these straight back inside the kitchen in a minute and keep them lightly shaded, because just too much heat for them out here. And again, the roots are going to be very, very delicate. Funny enough, this seems to be in a different soil to the first one. This doesn't look like muddy soil, so I guess he's just using whatever soil he's got lying around to keep the seedlings alive. But the leaves look okay on it. As I said, they can be a little bit challenging when they're young, like most tropicals and subtropicals, to keep the plants healthy and alive. But if I don't expose them to any extreme weather conditions, with any luck they'll keep going. My main concern is I think they were a bit wet, but as they've had the shock of travelling from abroad, I guess it's not a bad thing to keep them well watered. But I think the main thing will be to keep them lightly shaded. So in a minute I'll be moving these out of back out of the sun where I've got them on my table, and obviously we'll see how they do. As I said, they're extremely young. I've had no luck with grafted members of the custard apple family. They've all died on me, my grafted ones. They just suffer problems with the roots and the graft. But I'll see what I can do with this one. I don't think it's ever going to produce fruit here. Even my seedling one that's very well established struggles to do anything. But the white sapotes, I've got slightly more optimism. It's just a shame that they're extremely young, very delicate plants, so it's going to be challenging to keep them going, but we'll see what happens. Certainly a change in weather conditions for them compared to where they were growing in that hot Mediterranean sun. So at least it's he probably had them shaded, but at least here they're going to be slightly less stressed, I hope, until it gets to winter, and then it'll be dark and cold. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Hope that was of interest to you. Please give me a thumbs up. Welcome to, as usual, share the video if you like. Subscribe to my channel, and remember, click on the bell if you'd like to know when new videos come out. See you all soon. Brett out for now.